I have a problem. I love playing games, but I have way too many of them to play and I just keep buying more. I'm going to make a video about every game I complete to discuss what I think about it as incentive to work through them. This is Backlogged. Mario Kart World. What to do with you? I should have made it very clear by now that I'm a massive Mario Kart fan, and I'll be honest, it's kinda hard to screw Mario Kart up for me. Give me fun kart racing that I can play with my family and I'm absolutely happy. What you don't do is make me think that Mario Kart could be so much more than that, and then don't give me that so much more. Mario Kart World incidentally breaks this sacred rule. The idea sounds great. All the Mario Kart you could want, just now with an open world bolted on. I've played a couple of Mario Kart games as largely single player experiences, mainly Super Circuit and Tour, so the idea that a console Mario Kart could have a load of single player content for me to sink my teeth into, that was big. Mario Kart World's open world is nothing short of disappointing for me. It's an easy cop-out to say that an open world has nothing in it, because it usually isn't true, and that's the case for this game too. It has all the Peach medallions, the question mark panels, and the P-switch challenges. That's stuff to do, but none of it was able to sustain my interest for too long. Collecting the panels is great, but because you have no idea how many medallions you have left to collect or where they could be, I just feel like I can't be bothered. And the P-switches? Well, some of them are great and really creative, but too many of them feel either too easy or too generic. And that's literally all there is to do in the open world. Well, not literally. You can encounter Nabbit in the open world, and the first time you catch him you get a sticker, and after that, nothing. Then there's the charging chuck challenges, where you have to chase some charging chucks and hit them with items. The first time this happened, I figured that was exactly the kind of thing I was missing. Events that happen in the world, set pieces that make it feel like in exploring the world, you've actually experienced something, not just seen the sights. I'm thinking things like, for example, Breath of the Wild, where there are exceptional events that happen in the world. The Malice Nadra event, for example, or Korok Forest being just completely different to anything else in the world. Moments that will stick in your mind, things that you weren't expecting, but that made it worth seeing what there was to offer in this world. Mario Kart World doesn't have that, with Nabbit and the Chucks being the closest thing the game has. The world itself feels static, unmoving, nothing happens here. It feels hollow. Now, this isn't to say I didn't have a great time with it at times. I did enjoy finding all the panels with my mum in the multiplayer open world, and exploring each area initially is fun, but once you've seen each area, there really isn't anything that draws you back to it. Peach medallions? No chance. I wanted so badly to find a game that I could dive into and spend hundreds of hours in, but I didn't find that at all. The game is certainly not all bad though. The game feels good to play, although it would be quite something if they managed to screw that up. Wall riding feels a bit hard to actually pull off though, which is very disappointing. But generally, I enjoy playing it, and I think it has some really strong course offerings. I love DK Spaceport, but Dry Bones Burnout was a surprise standout to me. The Rainbow Road is, while maybe not amazing in terms of gameplay, a true spectacle that I adore, and I think what they did with Dino Dino Jungle was so cool. There are some I'm less keen on. Mario Circuit is not only baffling in terms of its inclusion, but also why they didn't give it at least another lap of the 3 circuits, and Choco Mountain feels like such a bizarre downgrade from its BCP counterpart, but for the most part I like them. I also actually like the connecting courses in concept, and my issues with them actually stem from a slightly different place than most people. I think they do some really interesting stuff with them, my favourite being the route between Dry Bones Burnout and Airship Fortress. This one is essentially a gauntlet of enemies. On your way up, you'll see Bone Piranha Plants, Wamps, Womps, Sumo Bros, Hammer Bros, Boom Booms, Goombas. It's just really cool, and there are many connecting courses that are as interesting as regular courses to me. I also love how some connecting courses have you doing different laps of the course, or the course backwards at the end. It's just really awesome. Additionally, I kind of consider the 2 laps of the connection plus the lap of the actual course to be, in itself, its own course. So to me, it isn't a case of doing 2 laps before you start the course. To me, the whole thing is the course. I don't play online, so bagging also just isn't an issue for me. After a while though, I realised that I wanted the connection to feel like, well, a connection. The gimmick of driving between 2 courses is kinda lost when you only do 1 lap at the end, because as I say, then it just feels like you're doing one entire race that happens to be sectioned, rather than driving between 2 courses. I think it's a shame to lose that element, other than in cases such as DK Spaceport and Rainbow Road. It feels like because of the decision to make most courses have just 1 lap in the end, they've fundamentally undermined the entire point of the gimmick that centralises this entire game. So with all that said and done, what are we left with? The open world is disappointing, and the connecting courses fail at exactly what they're supposed to be, but at least the courses are great. And there's only 30 of them. That's really the nail in the coffin. The only part of the game that feels like it has any value long term for me is the versus mode, and there are less than a third of the courses in that mode than there are in 8 Deluxe. At that point, I think I'll just take the variety of 8, because while World is fun to play, the advantages over 8 just aren't enough for me to feel like it's worth choosing it 9 times out of 10. Granted, it does have Knockout Tour as well, and that's genuinely excellent, but with so few actual Knockout Tours and no ability to make custom routes, I don't know how long that will stay interesting for either. I've spent most of the video complaining, and that's because Mario Kart is a really big thing for me, and because it's baffling for me to have so many issues with it. I usually verge on toxic positivity with my attitude towards certain game series, and Mario Kart is one of those. Usually whatever the latest Mario Kart is would end up being my favourite until years later, when I finally start to see flaws in it. That I've started to see the flaws in this one so quickly is honestly such a shock to me. But I think the one thought I keep coming back to is, I do not see where $80 and 8 years of work has gone to in this game. And granted, the former point is irrelevant to me personally. I got the Switch 2 bundle and I don't use dollars, but I still have to wonder what justifies this price and what the heck they were doing for 8 years, because it just doesn't show at all in the game. But I wanted to end on some positives because there are plenty of those. The art direction is perfect. It manages to actually make it all feel cartoony while having relatively detailed graphics, a balance that 8 never captured either in its base game or in the BCP. The soundtrack is phenomenal. I honestly cannot imagine how this is not the greatest video game soundtrack of all time. As I mentioned, I really like a lot of the tracks, and I have some definite favourites among them. And hey, maybe there will be DLC and updates that fix a lot of the issues I have. But ultimately, the game is still a very fun Mario Kart. It just promised too much by its mere premise and could not deliver on that.